All right. Our last assignment for spelling is going to be proofreading for spelling. And so we're going to be looking at words that have the schwa final L sound. So we know that there are three categories. There's EL, there's LE, and there's AL, right? And there's some of the words that have IAL, but we're counting them. Sorry, not that fair. So we're counting them as just being in the AL category. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to share my paper. Now, you know, because we're doing proofreading for spelling, that they're going to try to trick us by flipping EL and LE. I know that they're going to try to do that. So my name is at the top of the paper. And this is actually a really interesting passage. It's about a stone that was discovered, and the stone is part of the reason that we are able to understand ancient languages. So it's a pretty interesting little passage. All right, so here we go. In 1799, a French army officer named Pierre-François Bouchard was working near the city of Rosetta in Egypt. See no problems with any of that. Bouchard and his men saw many ancient things, including a model, that doesn't have double D, of a house made of a metal, that doesn't have two T's, that looked like nickel. For fun, the men would juggle, that's not one of our endings, small stones. One day, Bouchard found a stone slab that was different from the others. He was very gentle. That's not one of our endings. IL. So far, we've seen two with IL. That's not one of our endings. He was very gentle with it as he used water from a nearby barrel, has two R's, to wash off the layers of dirt. I'm also just writing a number by them so that I'm counting to make sure we get 12, because we have 12 blanks. Bouchard saw strange symbols. The trouble was that he did not know what they meant. So he was seeing Egyptian hieroglyphics, and ancient Egyptian has symbols that look very distinct, and they look like animals sometimes, and the shapes are very distinctive. And so he was looking at it and probably thinking, what does this mean? Bouchard took the stone to scholars. They all had to marvel, just one L, at it, but they were unable to understand it. Was that a riddle or the title of a play? Was the bird an eagle? Was that little creature a flying squirrel? More than 20 years passed before anyone could translate the Rosetta Stone. So there were 3 different languages on the Rosetta Stone. One of them was ancient Egyptian. I'm trying to remember. I think one of them might have been either Greek or Roman. Let's look it up and just check really quick. So this is a picture of what it looked like, and it's got 3 different languages on it. And they figured out that the 3 languages were all saying the same thing. They were all, here's what it looks like. We'll see if I can show it to you and you can see it up close. This is a terrible picture, but you can see that it has 3 rows. This middle area right here is one language. Down here is another language. Up here is another language. And those languages, I can't remember. I should remember from art history. One is ancient Egyptian. It's a piece of rock called a stele. And steles had like proclamations on them in the ancient world when they wanted to say, I declare this to be April Fool's Day. They would carve that into a stele, which is a big piece of rock. It had ancient Egyptian. The top and middle texts are in ancient Egyptian using hieroglyphic and Demotic scripts. The bottom is in ancient Greek. So they all say the same thing. So scholars were able to figure out ancient Egyptian because most scholars could speak ancient Greek. That was not a problem, where they could read ancient Greek. So they used the ancient Greek to translate the Egyptian language. And the top 2 were Egyptian. One was hieroglyphics and the other was like the written out version of Egyptian. So this was a really important discovery because we understand a lot about ancient Egypt because of we understand their writing. And the reason why we understand their writing is because of this discovery, the Rosetta Stone. And you guys probably know that's a language program that you can order for your computer. It's called Rosetta Stone because it's named after the Rosetta Stone. All right, so I found 12 and I numbered them as I went. So now I'm going to correct them, cross them off, spell them out loud, and write them on the line. Model is my first word. It's number 14, M-O-D-E-L. The second one is metal. That's number 5, M-E-T-A-L. The third one is nickel. That's number 11, N-I-C-K-E-L. I have a friend named Richard Nickel. That's how you spell his last name, like the coin. Number 4 is juggle. Juggle is 18, J-U-G-G-L-E. Gentle, G-E-N-T-L-E. Barrel is the next one, B-A-R-R-E-L. Trouble is the next one. It's number 10, T-R-O-U-B-L-E. Marvel is the next one. M-A-R-V-E-L. Number 9 is riddle, R-I-D-D-L-E. That's actually, riddle is actually a real word. In the olden days, when they herded sheep, they would mark the sheep so that you could tell they were if you were a rancher, and you could tell they were your sheep because they would mark them with this red dye called rettle. And so the person who sold the dye was called a rettleman. So rettle is actually a real word, but we're looking for riddle. Title is the first word, T-I-T-L-E. And then we have eagle. Eagle is number 7, E-A-G-L-E. And squirrel, S-Q-U-I-R-R-E-L. Squirrel is one of the hardest words to say, I think. All right, so I hope that this helped you, and I hope you were able to not get tricked by seeing flipped ELs and LEs. They didn't do as much of that as they could have. So anyway, I hope that you have a better understanding of your final L sound words after doing this page together. Thanks for joining me.